Our world is a place of breathtaking beauty, of serene landscapes and delicate ecosystems, a tapestry woven over millennia. I have spent my life exploring its wonders, from the deepest oceans to the highest peaks, marveling at the intricate dance of life. But this planet, our only home, possesses another face. It is a face of raw, untamed power, a force that can reshape continents and alter lives in an instant. This is a power that commands respect and occasionally inspires terror. Today, we will bear witness to this other side of nature. We will look into the heart of the storm, stand at the edge of the deluge, and feel the ground tremble beneath our feet. These are not scenes from a distant geological past. They are contemporary events captured by the unblinking eye of the camera. They serve as a stark and humbling reminder that we are but guests on a planet that operates on a scale far grander than our own daily lives. A planet whose immense forces are, and always will be, beyond our ultimate control. Through this journey, we will see moments when the familiar world is turned upside down, when rivers of mud replace gentle streams, when the sky unleashes fusillades of ice, and when the sea itself rises up to reclaim the land. These are the stories of nature's fury, epic moments of natural disaster caught on camera. They are a testament not only to the destructive capacity of our planet, but also to the resilience of those who witness its awesome and sometimes terrifying might. Here, high in the Andes, what appears at first glance to be a rushing mountain stream reveals a far more sinister character. Look closely at the color, a thick, churning brown. This is not water, it is a slurry of earth, rock and debris, a mudflow. It possesses the weight of solid ground, but moves with the speed of a river. For these tourists, what began as a journey through a spectacular landscape has suddenly become a desperate race against a moving mountain. The very path they sought as a shortcut is now a channel for nature's unbridled force. They are fortunate. The roar of the approaching flow, a deep grinding sound of boulders scraping against the earth, gave them precious seconds to react. They scrambled to higher ground, their hearts pounding in their chests, watching as the torrent consumes the path they stood on only moments before. It is a powerful illustration of how quickly the seemingly stable earth can liquefy and carry everything before it. In these remote and beautiful places, the line between awe and alarm is perilously thin, and survival depends on reading the signs the land provides. An airport is a place of controlled power, of human engineering mastering the skies. But on this summer day in Blagoveshchensk, Russia, a far greater power descended from the heavens. A swirling vortex, a tornado, materialized seemingly from nowhere, its dark funnel connecting the angry sky to the solid tarmac below. All the precision and planning of aviation was rendered meaningless in the face of this atmospheric titan. From the safety of the terminal, it was a terrifying spectacle, a chaotic dance of primal energy. On the ground, it was pure pandemonium. Debris was lifted and tossed about like mere toys, structures groaned under the immense pressure, and the air filled with a deafening roar. The financial cost would later be calculated in the millions, a staggering sum. But the true impact cannot be measured in currency. It is found in the visceral fear of those who watched it form, who saw the sky itself reach down with a destructive hand, reminding everyone present of the unpredictable and violent forces that can be unleashed from an apparently benign summer sky. For a motorist, the weather is a constant, often unpredictable companion on any journey. But few atmospheric phenomena are as directly and personally destructive as a hailstorm. What begins as a darkening sky can, in minutes, become a full-scale assault. Each piece of ice, a hailstone, is a projectile, a frozen bullet fired from the upper atmosphere. For the owner of a vehicle caught in the open, the sound is unforgettable. A relentless, percussive drumming that speaks of damage and expense with every single impact. This is not merely rain or snow, this is solid matter falling from the sky with considerable force. The car, a symbol of freedom and mobility, becomes a stationary target. Each strike is a dent, a crack, a blemish on a once pristine surface. It is a financial blow, certainly, a matter for insurance and repair shops, but it is also a deeply personal one, a feeling of utter helplessness as one can only sit and listen to their property being systematically battered by the whims of the weather. Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, is a city accustomed to the temperate embrace of the Caspian Sea. Its climate is one of mild winters where sub-zero temperatures are a genuine rarity, an anomaly spoken of for years. On this particular day, however, the anomaly arrived with a vengeance. A sudden, unseasonable plunge in temperature caught the entire city off guard, cloaking it in a layer of treacherous ice. For the local divers, the liquid world they knew had transformed overnight into an impassable solid. The consequences rippled across the city. The transport network, the lifeblood of any modern metropolis, ground to a halt. In a place where winter tires are an afterthought, a luxury few would ever consider necessary, the roads became lethal skating rinks. Cars slid uncontrollably, drivers fought for purchase on the slick asphalt, and the normal rhythm of city life was replaced by a slow, cautious, and often futile struggle against an environment that had become suddenly, dangerously alien. It was a stark lesson in preparedness, or the lack thereof. Fog is a subtle predator. It does not roar or strike, it simply envelops, stealing the world from sight. On this day in New Orleans, it descended upon a bridge with blinding totality, reducing visibility to near zero. A bridge, by its nature, is a point of no return, a corridor with no escape route. For the drivers entering this wall of white, the ordinary act of crossing a river became an act of blind faith. A faith that was, for many, about to be shattered in a symphony of screeching tires and crunching metal. What followed was a chain reaction of devastating proportions. One collision cascaded into the next, and then the next, until over 100 vehicles were ensnared in a tangled wreck. The bridge became a scrapyard, a scene of chaos and confusion as 6 separate pile-ups unfolded within the disorienting fog. Miraculously, there were no serious injuries, a testament to sheer luck. But the event stands as a chilling reminder of how easily our modern infrastructure and the speed of our lives can be defeated by something as ethereal as condensed water vapor. The Indian state of Kerala is a land defined by water, a lush landscape of backwaters and monsoons. But when the monsoon rains fall, with an intensity that overwhelms the land's capacity to absorb, the life-giving water becomes a force of absolute destruction. Here, we see the devastating result. This is not a river that has overflowed its banks. This is a river that has become the landscape itself. The sheer volume and velocity of the water is breathtaking, a churning, brown torrent that carries with it the remnants of human lives. Look closely at the maelstrom. Where a house once stood, a place of family and shelter, there is now only a violent void in the floodwaters. The structure is simply gone, erased from existence in a matter of moments, its foundations scoured away by the relentless current. It is a horrifying display of hydraulic power, a demonstration that even the most solid of our creations can be dismantled and swept away as if they were never there. For the people of Kerala, this was a catastrophe of unimaginable scale, a time when the very water that sustains them rose up to swallow their world whole. In the jade mines of Myanmar, water is a tool, used to wash and process the earth in the search for precious stone. It's collected and stored in these vast reservoirs, man-made lakes held back by earthen dams. But to contain such a volume of water is to hold a colossal weight in precarious balance. And on this day, that balance failed. The reservoir wall ruptured, and the immense potential energy stored within was released in a single catastrophic moment. A tsunami, born not in the ocean, but on a hillside. The resulting flood was not of clear, natural water. It was a thick, sludgy wave, laden with the silt and tailings of the mining operation. It poured down the valley with terrifying speed, a tide of industrial waste and water that swept away everything in its path. Villages downstream, nestled in what they believed to be a safe valley, were inundated without warning. This was not an act of nature in its purest sense, but a disaster born from human activity, a tragic consequence of altering the landscape to extract its wealth, and a brutal reminder that the forces we seek to control can exact a terrible price when they break free. The River Po, flowing through the heart of Turin, Italy, is usually a picture of urban tranquility, its currents placid and predictable. But heavy rains can transform it into a raging artery of immense power. On this day, the river was swollen and angry, its current running with a force far beyond the norm. For these two boats, moored to the bank, their ropes and anchors were their only connection to stability, but the strain was too great. With a sudden jolt, they were ripped from their moorings. Now they are no longer vessels, they are helpless captives of the current. They are swept downstream, bobbing and turning in the violent water, their fate entirely at the river's mercy. Ahead lies a bridge, its solid stone piers an immovable obstacle. The boats are carried inexorably towards it, a collision now seeming inevitable. It is a slow-motion disaster, a powerful display of how quickly a familiar and placid urban waterway can become a hostile environment, turning objects of leisure and transport into dangerous projectiles on a collision course with the city's own infrastructure. In 2018, the people of Genoa, a city with a proud maritime history, found themselves in a battle with the very sea that defines them. Relentless, non-stop rain had saturated the land and swelled the rivers, but the true assault came from the Mediterranean itself. Storm surges, pushed by ferocious winds, drove the sea inland. The waves did not just crash against the shore, they climbed over sea walls, surged through streets, and hammered against the foundations of the ancient port city. The result was a catastrophe on a grand scale. Much of the city was submerged, the lines between street and canal, piazza and harbor completely erased. Cars were tossed about like driftwood, businesses were inundated, and the historic waterfront was battered by the sea's relentless fury. The damage was immense, estimated to be over $1 billion, a staggering figure that speaks to the sheer destructive power unleashed. For the Genoese, it was a terrifying reminder that even for a city built in partnership with the ocean, the sea always has the final say. The Earth is a single interconnected system. An event on one side of the planet can have profound consequences on the other. This was powerfully demonstrated when a colossal earthquake ruptured the seabed off the coast of Japan. The energy released was immense, displacing a vast column of water and creating a tsunami that radiated across the entire Pacific Ocean. Hours later and thousands of miles away, that energy arrived on the coast of California. It was not a towering wall of water, but a more insidious and deceptive threat. The sea level began to rise slowly but inexorably by almost a meter. This surge pushed into harbors and marinas with immense force, creating powerful, unpredictable currents. Boats were torn from their moorings, docks were ripped apart, and vessels were smashed against one another. The damage, reaching $10 million, was significant. It was a stark illustration of global interconnectedness, proof that a tremor on a distant shore can send a destructive pulse across the world's largest ocean, delivering chaos and destruction to a coastline that never felt the initial shake. We have journeyed to the raw edges of the natural world, witnessing moments when the planet shrugs off its tranquil facade and reveals the colossal energies that churn within. From the liquid earth of the Andes to the surging seas of the Pacific, we have seen the fragility of our own constructions in the face of nature's might. These events are not aberrations, they are an intrinsic part of the life of our planet. They are the processes that have shaped the very mountains and oceans we so admire, playing out on a human timescale with devastating consequences. To watch these scenes is to be humbled. It forces us to reconsider our relationship with our world, to understand that we do not command it, but coexist with it. The forces of wind, water, and earth operate on a scale that dwarfs our grandest ambitions. Our bridges, our cities, our very lives are lived within the bounds of their tolerance. The footage we have seen is a powerful testament to this truth, a visual record of those moments when the bounds are breached and the true, untamable power of the Earth is unleashed. And yet, in the aftermath, life persists. Communities rebuild, and the planet, in time, finds its equilibrium once more. Perhaps the most important lesson from witnessing nature's fury is not one of fear, but of profound respect. A respect for the incredible power of the world we inhabit, and a respect for the resilience of the life that calls this restless, beautiful, and sometimes terrifying planet home.